Good morning. I'm Rajni Pandey and today I am going to share certain details about storytelling. Storytelling is one of the ancient, I would say, part of which children love, and not only children, we as adults also love to hear certain stories, be it of ancient times or be it something of the present or the future. So today I'm going to share in certain strategies and certain tips which you can apply as a preschooler to introduce in your classrooms so that your storytelling sessions becomes more exciting and fun loving for the children. Gone are the days where parents used to think about that storytelling or stories have to be mugged up by the children. In today's world, if even I ask you as a parent or as a teacher, do you remember the story of the crow and the thirsty crow? Yes, we remember the story. But do we remember it the way our teachers have taught us line to line? No. Everybody has their own way of expression for a storytelling. So let me tell you certain strategies which you can apply for a lively storytelling in your classroom. The very first thing, if I talk about strategy, when you have done with the storytelling, always apply a role play model. Role play helps children, to be or feel the inside of the story. Similarly, you can apply also certain stick puppets. So, you can make certain stick puppets which represents the story, the different characters of the story, and you can implement them in your classroom. There's one more nice way of having a storytelling session in your classroom. And that's where you can take a dice, make a big dice out of a cardboard box, and on those dice normally we see dots, and when you roll the dice you get the numbers. But here, instead of that, you can, on the dice places you can write down certain characters, beginning of the story, end of the story, middle of the story, or even a problem or a solution. And when the child gets the turn to roll the dice, whatever comes into their place, they need to tell about that story. This is one of the good way of strategizing your story where children understand the story and learn the story. Similarly, you can have different groups in your classroom. Let's say we have 3 groups of the children, and let one group present with the beginning part of the story, the second group with the middle part of the story, and the third group with the end part of the story. And of course, if you feel that in your group you have the class strength is high, you can make it into 5 groups where the fifth group, the fourth and the fifth group can come up with the problem and the solution which they get to this. So basically a storytelling involves, the overall language development, be it listening, speaking, reading or writing, because this also enables or enhances the child's creativity, imagination, because when the child identifies a problem is where the child also thinks about the problem. So in a way, storytelling is one such domain which develops the overall development which is required in a child at this age group, be it your cognitive development, the creative development, the physical development, because when they are enacting, and be it also your social and emotional development. Right. Now here I'm just going to share few tips which you can incorporate in your classroom while you are doing the storytelling. So the very first tip which we normally as teachers miss out is, when we want a story to be read, we always open our book like this and we read it, which is a wrong way. The right way is, whenever you want to introduce a story, the very first thing is get an excitement and fun loving thing in your classroom. Show the picture, show the storybook in this manner. Now when you're reading the story, read it point to point with your fingers placed. Right. Let the children look into their book, but if they miss it out, they know where they are. The next thing is, the very first day, when we talk about a story for lower age group, it cannot be done in one day. You need to have a 3 to 4 days of strategy. So the very first day, you can just talk about the title of the story. You can ask them what they have done in the story, what they know about the story. The second day could be half of the story read. Then comes the end of the story, and then you can also show a video related to the story, which is very important because visual impact gives a lot of ideas to the children. And then you can also have some question answer sessions with the story and a role play session with the story, of course applying in different strategies for different stories. So with this, I conclude stating that do apply this in your classroom to get a fun loving. Remember, storytelling also depends upon the voice modulation which you create and excitement for your children. A happy learning session to all of you. Thank you.